Hello, my little goblins. We're back at it again, and this time we're going to be talking about the festival. And this festival is going to be a typing festival, so the typing is going to be fairy and fiends. And there's some pretty good decks you can play out there. But before we get into that, let's look at the loner decks. I mean, these two are just going to be not very good. You got Fluffle and you got Infinite Machine, and this one's just going to be severely better. So, like, if you guys are going to pick one of these, this is going to be the best deck to play. That deck is going to be the best deck to play, but I got 5 decks that you guys can build if you just want to blast through this event as fast as possible. So let's get into the deck. Deck number 1, just like you guys thought it was probably going to be, it's going to be Labyrinth. I know we already showed Labyrinth, but this Labyrinth deck is much better than the one you just seen. It's also playing Ice Dragon Prism, which is very good at neutering other Labyrinth decks. Like, this one card can desecrate like their entirety of their boss monsters. Like, just think about it. You Ice Dragon Prism, grab their lovely Labyrinth from the graveyard, and then banish the lady on the field. You just got rid of 2 of their boss monsters. Most people only play 3 boss monsters, and if for some reason they're playing 2 lovelies, and the only way it's a little annoying if they're playing 2 lovelies and 3 ladies, but that's kind of bricky. And if they're playing 1 and 3, I mean, it just takes 2 Ice Dragon Prisms or 3. If you just recycle these cards, you're just gonna outgrind your opponent once you get to that point. It also plays Labyrinth Setup, which is a good card to recycle your traps for the long games. But I think this deck's probably going to be best deck. But we have 4 other decks that are not Labyrinth that are still going to be very, very good. And it might actually climb faster than Labyrinth. Let's see what they are. So this is the second deck. This deck, I think, is going to... You can climb pretty fast with it. I will say, one card that I don't have for this deck, that I don't think is 100% needed, but it does help a little, is if you have Evil Heal. It does help with the OTK strategy, but it's not necessary. So this deck is going to 100% be a very good deck to do this event for, because the OTK potential on this card, you're able to pop everything they have. This deck's running, like, we're going to run 1 Lightning, 1 Harpy, plus Abyss Script. Rise of the Abyss King lets you pop a ton of cards on the field, and it's not once per turn, so you can keep recycling it. It's going to be pretty crazy. So watch out for this deck. This deck can take you by storm. These 3 cards are kind of like negotiable. You can kind of put whatever you want here. Skullmeister is like one of the few hand traps in the game, but you can replace it with Chaos Hunter if you want, or you can replace it with like Lancia, Artifact Lancia, because Dimension Fissure and Macrocosmos is available in this event, and Pendulum decks get absolutely obliterated by it. So it might be something you might want to put in the deck to counter that stuff, okay? But yeah, this deck is going to be very, very good at OTKing. So if you have Abyss Actor, please just play it. Let's go to the next one, and we're going to see what number 3 has in store for us. Hello, we're here with number 3, and it's a DDD. I mean, that should have been easy to muster here. The entire archetype's Fiends. You see I'm missing a lot of these cards because I dismantled a lot, I think, in the past, just because I needed the material. But DDD is going to be extremely strong. Playing the 3 Evenlies, like, the only thing they nerfed was they put DD Flame King Genghis to 1, but I still think this is still going to be a very, very powerful deck, because the deck, like, you don't have to play around Ash, you don't have to play around Max C, which this deck really hates. You can just do what you want to do. It's going to be very good at OTKing. It's going to be very good at breaking boards. It's going to be very good going first. Like, this deck's going to kind of do it all. Cope cards are in the deck. When I say cope, I mean you can replace it. Again, replace it with other things. Again, Skullmeister, you can replace this hand trap with whatever you want. Like, this is a flex spot. Same thing with Triple Tactics Talent. Again, it's a flex spot. Like, talent, because the talent I do like, but it's like real, like, with the amount, there's not going to be that many hand traps anymore for this format. So, like, I don't think it's really that necessary. But this is like pretty much 5-card flex spot that you can put whatever you want. But I think this deck's going to be pretty nuts, personally. I think if you have these cards crafted, you're going to have a pretty good time in this event. So let's get to the next one. You guys can see what number 4 is going to look like. So number 4 for the deck, I'm going to put Evil Eye. So Evil Eye is pretty much 100% power. And I know you guys might think, well, Evil Eye sucks ass, Fatsoid. Well, Evil Eye is actually a lot better since this new set. I will have a deck profile come up with Evil Eye sometime this week. But Evil Eye got a lot better because before the deck was lacking, like, plays other than Summon Serzel and then equipped... Summon Serzel equipped Evil Eye Celine and then pass. Now you have Balsatrice, right? Familiar. So this card, you have this card. Another new card that's huge is Evil Eyes Unleashed. And you might not think that's huge, but it does allow you to go to Du's King Machina. Because this card, you can use this to send this to the graveyard, or and then you could special summon 2 level 3s with Serziel. So that will give you DD Stone King Darius, which would give you DD Divisor King Machina. And you can use the Gorgonias or whatever to search like a counter trap. So you can actually build up a pretty good amount of like interruption for your opponent on your own turn. I actually think the deck's pretty solid. I think the deck's pretty good, and I think it'll be pretty decent in this event. Weaknesses to the deck is obviously your opponent playing a lot of like back row removal to get rid of your Celine. Like if they're playing like Cosmic Cyclones that would just banish both Celines, it's gonna be an uphill battle at that point. But other than that, I feel like this deck's in a pretty good position. This deck doesn't really have many cope spots. Again, you have the Chaos Hunter, mainly because I think Cosmic Cyclone might be played a little more in this because it's a really good answer to permanently dealing with some cards. Because you got to remember, a lot of the Labyrinth cards, they come back. So if you're able to hit Welcome Labyrinths with Cosmic Cyclone, even if they get the activation off, you banish it from the field. They're not going to have that recursion, that constant recursion that's going to keep having them come back. But yeah, I think this deck's gonna be pretty solid. Personally, I think it's gonna be good. Let's go to the next one. And the last deck I think is going to be pretty nuts is going to be Weather Painters. So Weather Painters, full power. This deck is absolutely 100% full power. They didn't ban Rival for the event for some reason, so it's a floodgate you can use. You can play Dimension Fissure, but if you're not comfortable with Fissure, you can play Macrocosmos. Macrocosmos is just not very good in this deck though, because you do send your spells and traps to the graveyard, and you don't really want those cards getting banished. You have a lot of flex spots here with like the Cosmic Cyclones. I'm playing 2 Radiants, and the reason why is because with the trap, the Thunder Canvas, you're able to just bounce these Kaijus back to hand. So you can just keep abusing your opponents. Like if they put up a big monster, Kaiju it, attack into it, bounce both cards back to the hand. You get your or this card gets banished, and then this gets bounced to the hand. But yeah, this deck's gonna be very, very good though. Plus, you get to set up multiple negates. Like your best end board's gonna look like you have Weather Painter Rainbow with like 2 or 3 of these back row with like 2 or 3 monsters, which yeah, you get a lot of negates out of that. It's gonna be really, really strong. And some decks are just gonna lose to Rival, you know? There's just some decks that just lose to this. So I think this deck is gonna be really sleeper. Out of the 5 decks, I think the Weather Painter one, the Abyss Actors, and the Labyrinth are going to be the best. But I do think all decks are going to be very good for just bursting through this event. I think if you're playing, no matter what deck you're playing, you probably should be playing evenly, because it deals with the back row decks, and it just deals with just board building decks in general. Evenly is just the best removal right now, because it permanently deals with the answer by banishing it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you guys have any decks that you want to add to this that maybe people in the community are interested in, we have a Discord, and if you go down to the link, you can join the Discord, and we have 500 plus members. And if you have a deck that you want to discuss, there's a deck discussion tab in there, and you can post your deck, and people can see it, and you guys can talk about like what you should add or fixing it for the event. People are pretty helpful usually. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you guys think about this list. If this list was helpful at all, helps me to know if I should keep doing these videos to give you guys ideas. But all right, have a good one. Goodbye.